I was working on this project, trying to implement a neural network. By the way, show of hands, who knows what the heck that is? Okay, one person, two people. You guys all beat me because I have no idea what that is. That week, every single day, I worked late into the night trying to complete this project. On one of those days, I remember sitting at my desk for a full 24 hours trying to get my code to compile correctly. Can you imagine? I was physically in Chicago, but really, I was living on Taiwan time. As the deadline was approaching, I became increasingly anxious because although I had started this project really early, I was making virtually no progress, and there were still other assignments that I needed to attend to. Eventually, I turned in my neural network quite frustratedly. Well, not really, since it didn't work. The only real lesson that I got out of that assignment was that I should avoid at all costs ever trying to work with neural networks again in the future. But don't worry, that's not the lesson I want to talk about today. It was 6 a.m. when I turned in my neural network. Despite having something due immediately on the day after, I decided to go on a long walk. As I was striding along the UChicago campus, I remembered how I felt when I was first accepted to the school. I was ecstatic. I remember thinking to myself, I'm about to go to the University of Chicago. Unfortunately, the euphoria didn't last for very long as I continued my challenging life as a double majoring senior. Yeah, so eventually, even though I was really excited to go, the difficulties of life kind of got to me, and I forgot what I was going to do basically at the time. As I was walking through the University of Chicago's campus, I noticed for the first time in a long time just how stunningly beautiful the University of Chicago is. Vines were creeping up the castle-like buildings on campus. The statues of phoenixes and gargoyles seemed to be glistening under the sunlight. The water lilies in the pond were in full bloom. When I walked past the sculpture of Enrico Fermi, you know, the guy who basically invented nuclear physics, I was reminded of just how incredible, and I mean incredible, the people at UChicago are. These buildings, these statues, the water lilies, were also appreciated by some of the greatest, most extraordinary, most eccentric people of the world. Enrico Fermi, Milton Friedman, Barack Obama, as they were walking through that campus, their minds were planning to change the course of history. That's when I realized that I had forgotten just how honoring it is to be part of the University of Chicago. In recent years, I've become less and less Taiwanese. I speak less and less in Chinese, and I've forgotten how to write many Chinese characters. Most of what I see, eat, and listen to nowadays are products of the West, including Toastmasters. At some point during my journeys in the US, I seem to have forgotten, or I seem to have become distant to my own hometown. Unknowingly, I've become embarrassed to admit to other Americans that I'm actually not a US citizen, but from a country they may not have even heard of before. 8 years ago, when I first left Taiwan, I was also excited and ready to speak to the world on Taiwan's behalf. Then, I met people who, when I told them that I was from Taiwan, they exclaimed, "I love Thai food." I met people who, when I told them that I was from Taiwan, they would ask, "What's a Taiwan?" And last but not least, I met people who, when I told them that I was from Taiwan, they would say, "Taiwan belongs to China." Somewhere down the line, I also became lost and frustrated. Somewhere down the line, I seem to have forgotten my own identity. A while ago, I was chatting with a fellow UChicago friend. When he asked me if I was an American, I somewhat reluctantly admitted that I was actually Taiwanese, and I told him about my life story. I told him about Taiwan and Taiwan's unique position in the world. I told him why I used to love Chinese literature and how it shaped my perspective on life. I told him why I left Taiwan in the first place and how I later became the bridge of communication between Americans, Chinese, and Taiwanese. I never gave a second thought about my life story. During our conversation, I didn't think I brought up anything out of the ordinary either. To my surprise, he was fascinated with my story. And he was really jealous that I had the opportunities to encounter so many interesting things. Then he said, indeed, the University of Chicago is full of incredible people. Staring at Enrico Fermi's statue that morning, I remembered these conversations. I was reminded of the fact that I was representing Taiwan as I walked through that campus full of legends. I realized that in the eyes of these incredible people, I wasn't special because I majored in some certain thing. What made me special wasn't whether or not I could implement a neural network. What made me special was my unique perspective as a Taiwanese person on the world. The University of Chicago helped me remember just how proud I am to be Taiwanese. Toastmasters of the evening.